Okay, so we've covered two topics, the news and the movies. So let us continue our third speaking lesson by moving on to cover two more topics before we finish. The next topic I would like to look at is names. Again, this is quite a common topic which comes up quite a lot over the last several years. Now, this can confuse people because they sometimes don't know the answers to these questions. So just see how you go. Does your name have a special meaning? Maybe you don't know the answer to that. If you don't know the answer to that, it's okay. You can just say, well, to be honest, I don't really know if my name has any special meaning. You know, you can say that. It's perfectly okay to be honest. Or maybe you do know what your name means. You could say, well, my name has a couple of different parts. The first part is, well, I'm not going to try and speak Chinese, but xiao, which means little, and bai, which means white. So my name basically means little white. I don't know why that's such a common name in China, but it is. I have some friends called Xiaobai. Hello, Xiaobai. And of course, you might explain what your family name means as well. Now, in my situation, I would say Gavin means white hawk. It actually comes from ancient Welsh, the name Gawain, who was one of the knights of the Round Table. That's pretty cool to know the meaning of your name. Second question, who chose your name? Again, this is sometimes a strange question. People think, well, my parents chose it, I guess. Maybe most of us have never thought about this before, and that's okay. That happens in the IELTS test. You get a question and you're like, what? Yeah, you do get confused for a few seconds. The point is that you still push over that and answer the question. Who chose your name? I'm pretty sure my mum and dad chose the name. I'm not really too sure. I've never really spoken to them about it. That's an okay answer. Or maybe you really know. Well, actually, I know that my grandfather chose my name because in our family, like the oldest person generally has a lot of power and influence. And so he suggested to my parents that they have this name and they agreed with him. So something like that would be okay. Are you happy with your name? Yes? No? What do you think? Do you like your name? So again, if you might not have any special feeling, you might just say, oh yeah, I guess I'm pretty happy with my name. I've had it my whole life, so I'm used to it by now. Or maybe there's something you don't like about your name. Actually, I don't really like my name because when I was at school, a lot of the kids teased me about my name because it sounds like something rude in Chinese. Or I don't like my name because it's such a common name and I wish my name was different. Or the opposite. I don't really like my name because it's so unusual, and every time I try and say it, people don't get it, and I have to repeat it 2 or 3 times before people understand my name. That would be annoying, Tansy. I know that happens to you a lot. So something like this. Okay, this is a fairly straightforward question. Is your name a common name in your country? I can't give you the answer for that. I know for my name. So for Gavin, I would say it's not a very common name in Australia or anywhere, to be honest. Throughout my whole life, I've probably only met 5 other people or heard of 5 other people called Gavin. However, names like David and John, you hear thousands of times. So for your name, you're going to say one of the others. You might just say, yes, it's a very common name in my country, and you will hear it almost everywhere you go. You'll know several people that have the similar name. Okay. And again, this last question can sometimes throw people because a lot of people have never thought about this before. So have a think about that. If you had a child, what would you name them? Okay, so maybe you've had a bit of a think. But again, you can actually say, oh, wow, I've never really thought about this before. And like right now, I can't really think of a special name that I'd like to give my child. It's actually something I'd want to put more thought into this rather than just think quickly in an IELTS test. That would be okay to say. What you shouldn't say is, I've never thought about this before, and stop. You know, even if it's a question you don't know how to answer or you're not very comfortable answering, you can at least explain that. Like I just said, I've not thought about it before, and I don't really want to rush to make this kind of decision. It's something that I think needs more time. That would be okay. Or you can say, well, if I had a girl, I would name her because. And if I had a boy, I would name him because. And just explain like that. It's not a complicated question. So when you do get a question that can be a little bit unusual, don't say nothing. At least think about it for a moment and give an answer, even if the answer is, I've never thought about this before because it's such a strange topic. Okay, another topic which has popped up a lot in the last few years. I think they introduced this topic last year or the year before for the first time, and each year they've brought it back at least one time that year, and dictionaries. And again, it's a topic which, should be very relevant to anybody taking a language exam, in your situation, the IELTS exam. The first question might be something like, do you own a dictionary, or what kind of dictionary do you have? So do you own a dictionary? I would say, well, I don't really own an actual copy of a dictionary, but I do have a dictionary app on my phone. Or you might say, yes, I have a few dictionaries. I've got a small paper one, which I take with me when I'm traveling. And I have a big one at home, which has a really good explanation of words that I like. How often do you use a dictionary? Have a think about that. Like, really think about this in detail, because you probably use it quite a lot. So you might say, I use a dictionary all the time. But that wouldn't be an accurate answer, because right now you're listening to me. I hope you're not looking at your dictionary right now. Put that dictionary down if you are, and listen to me. So you would say, oh, I use the dictionary several times a day, or 4 or 5 days a week. When I'm doing language studies, I'll use the dictionary a lot those days. So again, we're giving detail with those answers. We're explaining that not just sometimes, always, often, but more specific, once a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, stuff like this. When was the last time you used a dictionary? Practice that one. We had a similar question earlier. When was the last time you used a dictionary? The last time I used a dictionary was yesterday, when I was actually teaching a student in primary school here in Australia about what her name might be in Chinese. So we looked up, her name was Jasmine, which is a kind of flower. So we looked up the word jasmine, and I've already forgotten, I'm sorry to say. So that would be the truth. It's honest, it's detailed. Don't just give a memorized answer. Last time I used a dictionary was yesterday, when I looked up a word that I didn't know. Now, if you can explain the word and why you were looking up that word, it makes your answer a much better answer there. Okay, so again, that's a grammar structure you should look at and practice. And I think what we'll do is, at some point, I think in like our 8th or 9th lesson, we're going to look at many common grammar structures and give you a chance to practice them a lot more by that time. What kind of dictionary do you prefer? So at this point, you've probably thought, well, we have electronic dictionaries, we have the dictionary app, we have the paper dictionary. So a lot of people think about it in this way, but there's another way you can think about dictionaries. We can think about the language. So you have Chinese to English, English to English dictionary. Sometimes you have triple language dictionaries. Now, at this point, you should be saying, oh, I prefer to use an online app dictionary, specifically from English to English, because I feel at this level of IELTS, I don't want to be using Chinese for my studies, and the online ones are more up to date. Or maybe you prefer a paper dictionary. I do, however, strongly recommend that if you are looking to get anything over a 5.5 or higher in the IELTS exam, you should stop using a dictionary that has your country's language. So for most of my students being Chinese, you should not be using a Chinese to English dictionary. Maybe when you're a low-level student, that's fine. When you're a beginner, that's normal. But once you get to a higher level, the really good language learners, they stop using a Chinese to English dictionary. They will just use an English to English dictionary. It means you're looking at definitions in English, which helps your grammar, it helps your vocabulary, it helps your way of thinking in English. So I really hope that by this point, you guys have all moved on to studying an English-only dictionary, whether that's an app on your phone or a paper dictionary or an online dictionary, it doesn't matter. Oh, and just remember, when people say electronic dictionary, it's usually that old machine that people had a lot 10 years ago before we had the online apps. You know, it was like a little machine, you'd lift it up, you'd type in the word, and it would speak to you like a robot. Dictionary, a book that tells you the meaning of words, you know, those kind of things. So that's an electronic dictionary, and an app, a dictionary app, are different things. So don't get those two things confused. I've had a lot of students tell me an electronic dictionary when they actually meant dictionary application or dictionary app. Oh, and by the way, don't say APP, it's app. Did your English teachers let you use a dictionary in the classroom? Now, depending on what I was teaching you, the answer was probably no. But I mean, this depends on, you've had many different teachers. So have a think about the past few English teachers you've had. Were you allowed to use a dictionary? So again, maybe your answer might be, well, most of my teachers did let us use a dictionary, especially like my Chinese teachers, because we were doing a lot of reading and translating and grammar. But when I had a foreign English teacher and we were focusing on speaking, they didn't let us use a dictionary because they didn't want us to stop speaking. Something like that there. Again, if I'm teaching oral English, I don't allow dictionaries in the classroom. If I was teaching a reading class, I would probably allow some use of the dictionary at times there. It really depends on what you're teaching. Okay, so I think that's the final topic for this video. So I don't know if you noticed, we actually cut this video in the middle, so that all together made one video. We've covered 4 topics there. So if you have any questions about the topics today or other topics that you've come across and you didn't really feel sure about what to say, again, please contact us. Tell us, oh, I had this question and I said this. Do you think that was a good answer, or what should I have said for this question? Okay, so ask us those questions. Contact us. Contact the Chinese staff in my school. They'll let me know. And again, there's lots of different questions out there, and I can't cover all of them in the videos we are doing. But once again, thank you very much for listening and for your patience. I look forward to speaking to you shortly for our next video. Bye-bye.